Jackie Robinson, breaking Major League Baseball's color barrier. And according to Dr. Anthony Fauci, we can have sports in the near future without fans. Welcome to ATL Prime Sports, brought to you by the Association of Professional Ball Players of America. I'm Todd Corder in for Stephanie Stallworth. I've got JJ with me on the other side of Atlanta. I am Breck in the San Francisco area. I have you, the listeners. You can call in at 678-280-7123, 678-280-7123. We're glad to talk to you about anything that is on your mind, sports related. You can give us a follow on Twitter at ATL Prime Sports, myself at Corder Todd, JJ at JJ Get You One, Stephanie at ATL Traffic Lady, Mark at Mancini Sports, and you can follow us on the Stables Network. We've got a full show here today. We've got Emily Walden of The Athletic calling in at 8:10 to talk about the status of Major League Baseball today. And also she covers the Detroit Tigers minor league system for The Athletic. We'll talk to her about some Tiger prospects. Also, we're going to talk about who is the real team of the 90s. Is it the Braves or the Yankees? JJ and I will debate that. And then, of course, we mentioned earlier, Dr. Fauci promises a fan-free return to sports. We'll see about that. And we have much more going right here on ATL Prime Sports. Call us 678-280-7123. Time for our headlines. And JJ, how are you today? Give us some headlines, buddy.
Man, doing well. Getting tired of this quarantine, and I am with you on the Jackie Robinson. Man, what a great day. Wish I could have been there 73 years ago. Wish I could have seen it live with my own two eyes. I think that was one of the coolest things I've ever read about in sports history. He paved the way for a lot of greats. So doing real well today. One of my favorite days of the year. They should all be wearing 42 today, TC. But let's get to the first headline. First headline, let's go with Dak Prescott. He had the police called out to his home in Texas the other day. My thoughts? Dak Prescott said in multiple reports that the gathering was under 10 people. And if you hadn't read the reports, basically the police were called out to his house, I believe it was last Friday, for a party, supposed party during the mandate of less than 10 people. So police were called. He comes out, said multiple reports saying Dak Prescott, the gathering was under 10 people. Again, police were called, but a TMZ report's different. TMZ reported that there was about 30 people there. I don't know what to believe. I'm going to believe Dak Prescott and say it was less than 10. I'm going to give the guy the benefit of the doubt. I do think he was trying to make light of a bad situation, but did it in a bad way. I mean, look, this is the new normal. You can't go outside. You can't see your friends. You got to wash your hands after everything you touch. You got to go by these social distancing. You got to go by these guidelines. So, period. So overall, I mean, he shouldn't have done it, but I think he really was trying to make a bad situation good by having some people over and enjoying the weekend. But just can't do it in a time like this.
Well, my thoughts are that he turned around and made a bad situation worse by really complaining about it. Honestly, just don't talk about it. Let it go. The numbers are what they are. He shouldn't have had anybody over other than people that are actually staying at his house.
Correct.
This virus is like a game of tag. You're it. So if you're inviting other people over, they're going to see other people. Then they see other people. And that's why we have the numbers we have in the pandemic. So my thoughts are just don't do it. You should know better, especially being the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. And everybody knows who you are. And then when the cops come out there, you're going to make the news. Guess what? He did.
He did. He got exactly what he wanted, possibly. Nah, not really. Just kidding. Anyway, headline number 2, Dana White back in the news again, eyeing a May 9th return for the next UFC events. My thoughts, is this deja vu? Last week he tried this and it was canceled by the higher powers. Now he says he will be able to host a fight at the UFC's Apex Center in Las Vegas. White said in a CBSSports.com article, and I quote, "We built the Apex facility next door just in time to save the day from this pandemic. Live fights will be produced out of there starting next month. and for the foreseeable future. So, folks, it looks like yet again, Dana White has found a way to put sports back on during this pandemic. He says he's going to be the first to have sports. He is trying his absolute darndest. And folks, if you're a fan of UFC, you may want to perk your ears up. Remember the name Greg Hardy, former NFL player? He is on the card for May 9th. So maybe that will spark some fans' interest. Some other fighters on the card, as Amanda Nunes has a title fight, and Tony Ferguson, as well as many others. So maybe this will be the sports first sporting event back, as Dana White wants it to be.
My thoughts are he struck out once, he'll strike out twice. Dr. Fauci's not allowing any of these sports to come. His recommendations are not going to be on the 9th of May. I don't see it the 9th of May. I think he's going to strike out again. He's going to have to try for maybe late May. Maybe they will be the first ones back playing sports. We'll find out, but I would say the odds are against it, especially the pandemic. It hasn't even reached its peak out west yet in certain parts, especially Vegas. So I'm going to say the odds are it's slim and none, and I'll say none that'll go on May 9th.
Last headline of the night. It will lead right into our first guest, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned, callers. We will get you right after our first guest. One of several Major League Baseball plans to come back now includes playing in two cities, Florida, two areas, Florida and Arizona. My thoughts on this, if you haven't heard yet, folks, the plan would have all 30 teams returning to their spring training facility sites in Florida and or Arizona, playing regular season games only in those two states without fans. The divisions would align based on geography of the teams. So you could see like the Braves and Red Sox be in a division for a year. Pretty cool if you ask me. If this is the way they decide to go, I'm hoping they kind of go as much as a normal regular season as possible. But this would be very intriguing if they were to align it by geography for a change. How would they do the American versus National League? Would they do a designated hitter? Those are the questions that'll have to be put out in the logistics of it. But right now, I'm all for anything that can get baseball back. And if it means playing in two states at spring training facilities, I'm all for it. But again, it's going to have to be on the backs of the players, what the players want to do. And there's going to be a lot of players that are against it. For example, I know Mike Trout is one of them who's voicing his opinion as a red flag against it. He has a pregnant girlfriend or wife. I can't remember if it's which one it is. And knowing Mike Trout's probably a wife, but I can't remember. What is he going to do? Can he not go and see the birth of his first child? Who knows? Those are going to be precautions that are going to have to be ironed out. I'm all for a plan if the players are on board and 100% backing it.
Well, we'll find out, obviously. The Arizona's governor, Doug Ducey, said his state would be willing to host all 30 teams if possible. So there's another potential plan that was already stated earlier. This only works. My thoughts are we're going to have to see how the coronavirus for the plateau is. I mean, right now, we're still a ways away. It's only the 15th of April. So this plan wouldn't even take place at the very earliest 30 to 45 days. That's at the very earliest. And all they've said already so far is, A, I'll be brief. Nobody comes to the stadium. B, you put players in big hotels along with baseball personnel. C, you isolate them from the public. And D, this is the best thing about it, but you got to do it. It's got to be testing. It's got to be quick. It's got to be every week. And it's got to be concise. And these players are going to be isolated in their hotel rooms. And, to me, it's going to be difficult to do, even though it does have the backing of Dr. Fauci. But we'll see, because, when you look at Fauci, JJ, so far, what they predicted for the numbers, they went from 1 million to 2 million deaths to 200,000 deaths. It doesn't look like it's going to get to that. Thank God. And they've been wrong on the numbers so far. So maybe they'll be wrong on this, and maybe they'll play sooner. Who knows? Hopefully they'll just play it all. And we'll see. You mentioned the DH, JJ. I think they'll have a DH in the Cactus and the Grapefruit League. The Grapefruit League will be in Florida, and the Cactus League will be in Arizona. So we get ready to wait for Emily C. Walden, the national prospect writer for Major League Baseball for The Athletic. She also covers MILB, the minor leagues, for the Detroit Tigers. And Emily is with us now. So we'll bring Emily onto the show. Our guest is Emily C. Walden, national prospect writer for Major League Baseball for The Athletic, and she also covers the Detroit Tigers in minor league baseball. Emily, welcome to ATL Prime Sports.
Thanks for having me on.
You're very welcome. Today's a special day in baseball history. It's the 73rd anniversary of Jackie Robinson breaking the Major League Baseball color barrier. What are your thoughts on that? What do you think it's meant to the game of Major League Baseball in a historical perspective and also a player's perspective?
Yeah, he very obviously reshaped the game through the way that he approached it, not only how he played, but also the fact that he did open the door for an entire race of people coming in with interest of being involved in the game. So really just flipped the game upside down through his influence, through the work that he did, and he's made the game that much better ever since.
You listen to Emily C. Walden, national prospect writer for Major League Baseball and the Detroit Tigers, my eyes on football. Emily, welcome to the show. What do you think is the most feasible plan for a return to baseball? We've heard a lot of options out there, two cities, 2 states, 30 teams in Arizona. What do you think is the most feasible plan?
As of right now, I personally don't think baseball should come back any sooner than June or July, just because you do want to make sure that you've got everyone's health at the forefront, especially with what's going on right now. You don't want to put more people in harm's way. So to put that in perspective, I think that you really have to look at a start later on and likely going to happen in empty stadiums. I don't think anytime soon you're going to have the structure or the setup to welcome in groups of fans. So unfortunately, I don't know if it's going to be looking the way that fans want to see it this year, but we're hopeful that they'll figure out some type of a plan to at least get a bit of time in this season.
Well, Emily, I tell you what, you're thinking along the same lines I am. I'm going to ask you the percentage. What do you think of the possibility of a season happening? You mentioned June or July. Dr. Fauci mentioned it should happen sometime this summer without fans. What do you think of the possibility of them having baseball? Do you still think there's a shot we won't have baseball? I do.
I think we'll have Major League Baseball. I think the odds of minor league baseball are a lot more slim just because our season is much shorter, and you also have to factor in the time to recondition the players and get them used to being in a position to start playing again. So it's not just as simple as getting them back on the field. You have to allow them to get back in shape, get reconditioned. Not everyone has access to a home gym, so fans need to realize it's going to take these guys time to be able to get back there. So it's going to be a while, but I think on the major league side, we'll see baseball at some point this year.
Now, Emily, you did mention the minor league side. That's really interesting because if these major league players are going to be playing in Arizona and Florida, what are they going to do with the minor league players? Where are they going to play? Because the Florida State leagues, the Class A, is all in Florida. There's AA levels in Florida. I mean, there's even AAA levels. But what are they going to do with those teams in those areas? How are they going to move those games? I mean, there's a lot of factors here because there's a lot of levels of minor league baseball. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it would be quite chaotic, to be honest. I personally don't think playing in Florida and Arizona is really going to solve anything, just
Right.
because you still have Florida as being one of the hottest states in the country right now. So putting a bunch of baseball teams down there, I think is only going to make the situation worse. So if they are going to plan to do that, they're basically telling the Florida State League, sorry, we don't really have room for you, and it's going to put a wrench into any of the minor league plans.
You're listening to Emily C. Walden, national prospects writer for Major League Baseball for The Athletic. Emily, I saw your retweet today about how Major League Baseball is increasing fan engagement across all social media platforms during this pandemic. I love to see this kind of stuff. I'm a big baseball guy. Why do you think that is?
Well, the original tweet wasn't from me, but it spoke about the percentages of how the game is trying to draw more fans in. Obviously, while there's no playing time taking place, a lot of their online stuff, the video game related activities, I think has been very, very inspiring to fans, and it's really drawn a lot of them in to get involved in paying attention. So if I were to say one thing, it would likely be more to the online stuff that's really helped the fans keep going.
Emily, the Detroit Tigers, they're pitching rich down in the minors, led by Casey Mize, Matt Manning, Alex Fredo, and Bo Burrows. And also they have Tarek Sukal, the left-handed pitcher for the Tigers, who had the biggest improvement last year. This is obviously the strength of the team's minor league system. Do you expect, how many of the guys do you expect these coming up in 2020? How many expect going to come up this season, and will the coronavirus affect them coming up?
Well, it's hard to predict until we actually have the game back, but most of the top pitchers for the organization were projected to start the year out in AAA, with some opportunity to possibly get called up a little bit later in the year. But obviously with everything on hold, that could delay some debuts depending upon when the season actually starts for Detroit. And then that'll give us a better idea on when these guys could be expected to make their debuts.
Emily, you're a SABR award winner. Describe to our listeners who may not know what that is and how much did that mean to you?
Yeah, it was quite the experience. The Society for American Baseball Research acknowledged a piece that I wrote last year about the state of minor league baseball, and it was an extremely big honor. SABR is one of the most respected groups in the industry. So to be recognized by them was extremely humbling and really a very, very cool opportunity that I won't forget anytime soon.
Emily, let's talk about let's go back to the Detroit Tigers here. Let's talk about the everyday players that have a shot at the big club this year. What are they? And what positions do they play, and what do the Tigers expect?
At this point, the Tigers have said the major league roster is a little bit of I don't want to say free for all, but if they're able to show that they can produce, most guys have an opportunity anywhere from AA to AAA. There's plenty of guys who could get that chance. But as of right now, like you said, it is a very pitching heavy system. So I think before anything, we're going to see pitchers make that debut, and then they'll slowly start to move some position players into the line for consideration. But as of right now, it's going to be primarily pitchers who get considered for a call-up.
Now, Emily, Riley Green, the outfielder, he's the guy that they think that is going to come along the quickest and come up and contribute at the major league level. What are his strengths and weaknesses, in your opinion?
Well, he's only got half a season, so it's not been a lot of time for him to show what weaknesses he has. He's a bat-first profile, but a very, very good defender as well. He's got a slight edge at the plate, really good instincts. He's got natural raw power. And still being as young as he is, you see that there's plenty of room for more power to develop, which I think is very exciting for Tigers fans because they need some more impact bats in the lineup. And once he gets some more exposure at some of the higher levels, I think he'll move fairly quickly.
Emily, still talking about the Tigers, where do you think they'll finish in the division this season when we get baseball back?
It's a very broad question. We obviously it's going to be very hard to tell. I think if we have a season, it's going to be a bit of an improvement from last year, but there's still a lot of holes to fill for the Tigers. And so to expect any real major improvement, I think is going to be a bit of a stretch, but I think we'll see a bit more improvement from last season.
Now, Emily, sticking with the Tigers, this season's get the games. If we're going to play a lot less games than they played, in a normal season of 162, I'm thinking the shorter the season, the better shot the Tigers have of possibly making some noise, because it's going to be critical to to be able to get off to a fast start, and the rotation, guys that had good, decent years last year, they've got to get off to a good start.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a huge thing to consider once the game comes back. But again, it's all going to depend on how the league structures it. It's very difficult right now to predict much until we have a better idea of what that outline is going to look like. And then once we have that figured out, I think we'll have more of an idea of what to expect, what the Tigers' chances are, and what guys we may see make a fight for a starting position. But it's going to be a bit, because we're going to have to kind of wait and see how they let things play out once they make the decision to start playing again.
Emily, before the pandemic, Major League Baseball was dealing with a colossal issue. As you know, the Astros general manager Jeff Lunau and the manager AJ Hinch, they were suspended for the entire 2020 season for obviously the sign stealing scandal. Now they're actually going to get a break, because even though we're not going to play a full season this year in Major League Baseball, their suspension is only for this season, so it won't even count for next season. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's disappointing, honestly, just because I think it should have been a bit of a stiffer punishment for them to serve out a full season. But obviously the commissioner and the others felt differently. So it's unfortunate, but unfortunately it's something that is going to play out the way that they wanted. And that's really all the insight I have into it. I haven't been as involved on that side of things.
Well, you probably have an opinion on how the Astros organization handled it themselves, not only with management. What is your opinion on how management and players handled the public relations nightmare?
It could have been handled much better, honestly. It was something that I think they probably dropped the ball on as far as how it could have been handled in the public eye. My hope is that they learned from it, and that it's something that they'll know how to better manage if they ever run into a difficult situation like this in the future.
How would have you managed it differently than the Astros?
I probably would have avoided the entire scandal to begin with, if we're being honest.
Yeah,
good answer.
Yeah. Right, that's a great answer. But I meant, if you're in this, you're part of the PR team and the Astros, how would have you handled it? Because they just didn't really hit it head on. I mean, the ownership said, we didn't get caught cheating. We got caught breaking the rules. And to me, that right there was the killer.
Well, as an organization, no matter what the situation, you should be able to take ownership for the choices that you made. It doesn't matter who the organization is. You still need to take ownership for it. I feel like that did not happen in the Astros case, and it was very unfortunate. It was something that should have been approached differently. Being in that position, you have to make decisions on what's going to be the best for your organization, but at the end of the day, it should have been handled with honesty, and I don't believe that was the case.
Emily, thank you for joining us here this evening on ATL Prime Sports. I really appreciate your time. Good luck to you, and you get to cover this baseball season. Hopefully it'll happen, and stay safe and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Wonderful. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for coming on.
You're welcome. That was Emily C. Walden, the national prospect writer for Major League Baseball for The Athletic. And also she covers the Tigers minor league system for The Athletic, and also Baseball America. JJ, that was a very interesting interview with Emily. Just to wrap it up here real quick, the Tigers are pitching rich. They've got Mize, Manning, Fredo, and Burroughs in the minor league system. They've all had success, especially Mize. He's thrown a no-hitter the first time he came out from Auburn University with a shortened season. It'll be really interesting how they handle these kids. Do they bring them up, or do they not bring them up at all, because they may not even play in the minors at all? And I think if they're not going to have a minor league season, I'm thinking the Tigers need to bring these kids up and let them get their feet wet. The rosters are going to expand.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Let them take their lumps, especially as Emily said. It doesn't seem too optimistic for the Detroit Tigers to be in the race for the division championship. So I'm with you. I would bring these prospects up, let them learn. We saw the Braves do that just a couple of years ago, and it paid off. You saw them throw in guys to the fire, Ian Anderson and Kyle Wright. You saw these guys take their lumps on the chin, and hey, now they're right here knocking at the door, and we got a new guy every other day, it seems like, in the Braves organization stepping up that you hadn't heard the day before. I think you may see that in the Tigers organization.
You may see it. And speaking of the Braves, they also did it in 88, 89, and 90. These guys took their lumps, and then in 91, they went from worst to first, which brings us to our topic. We're going to take your calls at 678-280-7123 after this topic. This kind of blends together here. Atlanta's last major pro sports championship was the 95 Braves. Were the Braves really the team of the 90s, JJ?
Well, I think it's a tale of two halves of the decade, TC. Braves have almost 200 more wins in the 10-year span from 1990 to 1999, totaling 925 wins. Well, the little old Yankees up there in New York had 784. But we all know in today's terms, it's 3-1 in the championship game. But I'm still going to lean towards Atlanta because at the beginning of the decade, the Yankees did not make the playoffs until 1996. They made it 94. They would have made it strike-ridden. I think they may have made it in 95.
They made it in 95. They got eliminated by Seattle.
They made it in 95 for the first time, while the Braves made it in 91, 92, 93, obviously 94, not there, and won it in 95. So judging by wins, you could say the Braves are still the team of the 90s. They have more division championships, but really the answer to the question depends on geography. If the Braves win in 96, though, maybe the tables turn. But I'm on the fence here. I'm leaning towards the Braves because of the amount of wins, the amount of Hall of Famers. They were able to get to the World Series 91, 92, 95, 96, 99. What is that, 5 times? They only won it once. They were there 5. So you can call the Yankees the team of the 90s all you want to. But division championships, 8 in that span, while the Yanks only claimed 3. And here's my stat to sugarcoat it. The Yankees had one 100-win season in that time frame. Atlanta eclipsed 100-plus wins 4 times. So, TC, the Braves are the team of the 90s.
You're out of your absolute clueless mind. It's all about winning the whole thing. The Yankees had 3 championships in the 90s, and in 2000, they won it 2, even though that's not part of the 90s. I get it. But the difference is, they won 851 games in the 90s. You shorted them about 100 wins. They had the second best record in the 90s, but they had 3 World Series rings to go.
Who had the best record in the 90s, TC?
I just said it. But let me finish. They beat the Braves in 96, head-to-head. Atlanta was up 2-0 and up 6-0 in Game 4 and choked the series away. In 99, they got swept. It wasn't even there. The Yankees closed down Fulton County Stadium with 3 consecutive losses.
That they did.
And you got it. It's all about winning it all. They won it 3 times. You're trying to compare me, Georgia, beating Alabama in the national title game, up 3/4 of the game, and then Alabama won it in the 4th quarter. The SEC championship, Georgia's way up. Alabama comes back in the 4th quarter. Same analysis here. The Braves were ahead through 4.5 innings, and they got smoked the last 4.5 innings. And when you look at it, the difference was the clutch play of Derek Jeter, who had a .321 batting average in the World Series, 20 homers, 61 RBIs, and a .308 average in his career. Andy Pettit and the Braves had a great pitching staff. 3 Hall of Famers. Nobody had Andy Pettit's record in the postseason of 1911, 6.33 winning percentage. And then the closer, to close my argument, is Mariano Rivera, 8-1, 0.70 ERA with 42 saves in his illustrious playoff career. So if Atlanta had Mariano Rivera, I do believe the script could have been flipped, but they didn't have him, and call it a day, eh?
Well, you can call it a day, but wins are wins. 925 to 784. That's from baseballreference.com. So, no, I didn't short a single win. That's from baseballreference.com. From 1990 to 1999, the Yankees had 784 wins.
I have 851 and 702 losses. I don't know where you got that from.
I got it from, I just told you, I got it from Baseball Reference.
I'm reading it. They were 851 and 702.
Let's do the math. Here it is right now. All right.
So, look, the bottom line
starting
is
in 1990.
I don't care. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is championships. That trumps everything you can ever say in this conversation.
Sure. You can say that all you want to, but we're talking longevity of the decade. Longevity of the decade, it goes to the Atlanta Braves. They had more wins. They had more division titles. They were in the World Series more. Starting in 1995 is when the decade started shifting towards the Yankees, if you want to put it that way. But we're talking from 1990 to 1999. We're not talking from 96 to 99 and including 2000 as you did. We were talking from 1990 to 1999.
Look at the Yankees in 93.
The Braves have almost 200 more wins. Almost 200 more wins.
No, it's 925 to 851.
I'm looking at baseballreference.com right now.
And that's what I'm looking at. I have it right here unless I'm just blind and stupid and I can't see it, and I don't think I am. The Yankees were 88 and 74 and 93, 70 and 43 and 94.
88 and 68.
88. I have 88. They weren't 88 and 68.
No, 88. No, you're right. 88 wins. I was.
But I know I'm right. I'm right. They won the most championships, and I'm right with a decade. And let's do this. Let's bring on some callers at 678-280-7123 to prove my point, which is obvious. Lou, you're on from New Jersey. Tell me I'm correct over JJ. Lou, ATL Prime Sports from New Jersey. Lou, you're on the line.
Okay,
Lou, you with us?
Yes.
Lou, hey, Lou, tell JJ who the team of the 90s is, please.
Well, it depends. If you're going by division titles, it's Atlanta. But if you're going by championships, it's the Yankees. So
which one you go by, Lou?
I hate to say it, but I gotta go by championships because that's what you play for.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I'm not disagreeing with you guys. I'm kind of at the short end of the stick. I'm trying to.
You are at the short end.
I'm trying to argue longevity of the decade. You guys are arguing about 4 years. That's not a decade, folks. That is not a decade. We're talking about longevity of 10 seasons. And TC, let's do the math. Starting in 1999, here it is. It is New York Yankees right here, 98 wins. 1998, 114, 96, 92, 79, 70 wins in 94. 93.
No. Yes, 70 wins in 94. That's correct.
Yep. So then 92 was 76, 71, and then 67 for a total.
How many wins do you have them in 93? 88?
93, I have them at 88. Yeah.
Yeah, 88. So, I had 851 is my total, unless I read it wrong, but I read it twice.
But you probably included every playoff win in the decade too.
I don't know if they had that included in there or not.
See, I'm not including the playoffs in that. I'm talking strictly regular season there.
Right. I don't know. I just gave you the numbers, what I saw. But anyhow, it doesn't matter. You can give me numbers 6 ways to Sunday, Lou. Thank you for resting my case. The Yankees ended up being the winners of the decade. They won it all 3 times, and they won it in 2000. I mean, but I know that's not part of the decade.
Talking about 4 years, sure.
Look, man, You win the championship 3 times in a decade, you're crowned. You know, that's the mistake that Bob Costas
could have
made.
been 2-2.
It could have, would have, should have, would have. I mean, Georgia should have beat Alabama in the SEC title game and blew that, and also the national title game. You know, that's what I find hilarious. I've been here 30 years, and people, the locals, always tell me, woulda, coulda, shoulda, coulda. And I go 28-3, and they go, woulda, shoulda, coulda. Then I go up 2-0 and up 6-0 in game 4.
TC, I mean, you're explaining the story of an Atlanta sports fan. This is an argument about the decade.
I don't mean to.
Longevity of a decade goes a long way.
What else is on your mind?
4 years, sure, they won. They won probably the best 4 years in Major League Baseball history. I wouldn't give that away to the Yankees. But if we're talking longevity of a decade, that's tough to beat my argument. 8 division titles versus 3.
Nobody's going to remember.
But you guys are. But we're all right. I mean, we're all bringing great.
I mean,
points,
yeah, we're all bringing good points.
Geography down here in the Atlanta area, people are going to agree with me. Lou, what else?
Yeah, that's true. They are. But you know, Lou, go ahead and tell what else is on your mind.
Switching gears for just a second. I mean, are you surprised that the XFL folded is now filing for bankruptcy?
I'm shocked, actually.
Really?
I'm really shocked. You know why I'm shocked?
No.
Because they had the money for 2 or 3 years. I mean, the commissioner of the league said they had money for 2 or 3 years. And you know what? It just shocked me when they folded. But I mean, this pandemic is the reason they folded. And I just, I was shocked. I really was. And Oliver Luck, the commissioner of the XFL, when he sat there on shows nationwide and said, we're good for 2 or 3 years. He said, we're going to be around for 2 or 3 years. And then this pandemic came. I'm shocked. I thought they would at least be here next year.
I'm not too shocked, Lou, to be 100% honest with you. I'm just not. The ratings were dropping significantly each week.
Yes.
From week 1 to the last week that it was on aired, I saw some reports as high as like 60 to 80% drop off in viewers. That's not a successful plan. TV is the main leader, is the main driver of revenue in the NFL. That's why they can go on and probably not have fans and be okay. Would they miss a heck of a lot of money? Yeah, but they would still probably be okay because of the TV contracts and the amount of money the TV networks pay the NFL to put these games on TV. So I was very I'm not going to say shocked. I wasn't going to say I saw it coming, but I definitely, it didn't surprise me simply because equals pandemic, viewership going down. It didn't surprise me.
What's up? What else is on your mind, Lou?
Yeah, I wasn't surprised by that either. So, and of course, the NBA is still trying to figure out how to do with their season, calling a 25 game day plan to try to get everything ready, maybe by June. It's not a bad idea, but I don't know if they can get it ready back in time. But I'm still hoping they can.
I'm. You know what? I understand. It's all hope now. It's all about the virus, Lou. It really is.
It's all we got is hope.
It's all we got right now. JJ's 100% correct. I agree with him. It's all we have. Really, that's all we have. And Lou, shout out your show. I gotta let you go.
Okay. Well, you know about, of course, the Saturday show, but I'm also involved in a Monday night show called Rocket Along the Shores of Lake Erie Sports. That's Monday night from 6:30 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We discuss mainly the respective sports from our areas, the New York metropolitan area and Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, wow! Along Lake Erie. I get that because George Steinbrenner is from Cleveland, who owned the Yankees for years, and now his son just passed away this week. That was yes. So anyhow, his son passed away this week, and My condolences to the Steinbrenner family. And Lou, thank you for coming on.
And don't forget about the Saturday show, the Enhanced Sports Show. That's 512-543-4622. All right, gentlemen. Good night.
Good night, Lou.
Thanks, Lou.
We've got Double T from Atlanta on ATL Prime Sports. Welcome, Double T, to ATL Prime Sports.
Well, thank you. It's good to hear you. By the way, the team of the 90s is definitely the Braves because
Oh, I knew you were coming with it.
Well, it's TC. It's much more difficult to do what the Braves did, to win all those divisions, than to have a couple bad seasons and a couple good ones. The Yankees exist on publicity alone, and as far as an organization, yeah, they're good, but nobody tops what the Braves, what they did, winning those 14 division champions. Will never be done again.
Well, the Yankees won, I believe they won 13 or 14 themselves in the row, but it wasn't in the 90s, obviously, and the Braves didn't
9
win
in a row, TC.
titles in the 90s, but I do.
9 in a row is the most they've won.
Yeah,
What's that?
and it was
9
a different
in a row
time
is the
back
most
then.
they've ever won.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
go ahead, Double T.
Yeah,
Go
but
ahead.
the thing is, but at any rate, but my question is this about with Major League Baseball not playing right now. I wonder what's going to happen come next year when the money comes around for free agency. When the money comes around to pay players' contracts, I assume that the Major League Baseball is still getting paid by the networks, or the majors. Are they getting paid by the networks even though the games aren't on?
They won't get paid unless the games are on. A, B, you're going to see salaries go down. Fans,
You bet, yeah. And another thing, this is also going to affect colleges because there's no NCAA tournament, and many universities rely on that money. You're going to see schools starting to drop sports, not necessarily the large ones, but even the larger ones may be dropping some of these non-revenue sports, and it's going to be sad because it's going to be fewer opportunities for kids, to get scholarships and that kind of thing. But I think next year, there's going to be the revenue. And I know the Braves, I think, are already going to pay their employees through May. I think they'll be playing in June. Yeah, and then but you've got a lot of people going to lose their jobs for at least temporarily. So it's not going to be pretty. And that ticket revenue does make a difference, and we'll see. It's interesting the lady's comment about the minor league system being even more disruptive than the major leagues. I never thought about it that way, but you have to have the majors playing before you can play the minors. Otherwise, at least it seems that way for the flow of players. But this effect of this virus is just starting. And next year, you're going to see salaries drop. You're going to see free agents for a longer period of time. It's going to be real interesting. Going to be kind of sad. But I think if Major League Baseball starts in the next month or so, I think we'll be okay. They will. I mean, the fans will be. But this is just really unprecedented, and it's kind of sad. It really is.
I agree with them, JJ. I agree with them. The salaries are going to go down. It's going to be a big change.
It's going to be a big change. And you mentioned that, Double T, which is a great point, because it's not going to be just a baseball problem. It's going to be a Major League Baseball problem. It's going to be a WNBA problem. It's going to be an NBA problem. And it could, if it keeps on going, be an NFL problem. Because if you miss games, that salary cap does go down. And you heard a lot of NBA players, and especially NFL players, trying to gauge their contracts around a year or two from now when they expected the money to shoot up. Well, that's going to change now if these games are affected. So very good point, Double T.
And I still think the league, I think that might be even most affected by all that is the National Hockey League, because they just don't have that big contract. Now we're in the middle of April. We would be in the NHL. We'd be down to probably the final four. Is that right? Or the final two? We'd be the semis now, right? I think.
Where?
in the Stanley Cup.
The Stanley Cup Finals aren't until the month of June. It parallels
Wow.
the NBA.
Yeah, I think they'd be at about the quarterfinals right about now.
No, they would
Wow.
they'd still be in the first round. Today's only the
Would they?
15th. The NHL season, the regular season wasn't going to end until around the 8th. So yeah,
Really? Okay. Well,
round.
yeah. There you go. You know, and that's big money for the playoffs. So
Sure.
I actually thought that some sports would try to run the playoffs without fans. I mean, just let's say the season ended and put the playoffs on without fans and put it on television. I thought they might try that, but I don't know if there was contractual regulations for that or not. It'd be really kind of weird, but I thought the base might say, oh, okay, well, here's where you finished so far in the season. We're going to start the play. We're going to put them on television and see what happened. I just don't know why. There's probably untold reasons that wasn't done, but this and this situation with the virus, whether if it's ever going to happen again, some of these broadcasts are going to look twice at these contracts, and these. Yeah, they look at guaranteeing these things. I think there might be insurance policies for some of that for the networks. I'm sure something like that. But this is going to be. We've just seen the tip of the iceberg, especially in colleges. Funding for state schools is going to go down because the state governments are going to have taxes. These schools, even the private schools, they're having to give tuition away. And look at some of these colleges too. They're not going to have summer classes. In a lot of cases, and no summer classes means no tuition.
Well, I think they will have summer classes. If I may say, they'll just have the kids go online.
Yeah, they might. Yeah, that would be a little, I guess, less tuition. I guess, but it's going to be really, really
some colleges
different.
Close, if you don't mind me saying. You're going to see some universities actually not make it. You're going to see the college landscape change. You're going to see people not spending big money for their kids to go to college anymore. I think it's going to
and I think you're going to see it in football. I think you're going to see some mid-level schools just dropping football right and left because it's too expensive to maintain. Or you could see people go to non-scholarship football, something like that, and it's all going to be bad because it just gives fewer opportunities for the student and for the young people. That's the bad part about it. So.
You're correct. I mean, wow, these are excellent thoughts, and
great
we really appreciate you calling in. We've got to run, and then Double T, you're welcome to call in any week. We really appreciate you calling in.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Double T.
Bye now. That's Double T out of the ATL. JJ, let's go on to the next subject here. You will take a caller. They'll call in 678-280, 7123, 678-280. 7123. Dr. Anthony Fauci, we kind of talked a little bit earlier, so we'll be quick and brief, has now promoted a return of sports under certain precautions. What are your thoughts behind this, JJ? I kind of gave mine a little bit. Go ahead and give yours briefly. We'll go over this matter real quick.
Yeah, real quick, guys. If you're living under a rock, Dr. Anthony Fauci said in an ESPN article that there's a way of doing that, meaning getting sports back. Nobody comes to the stadium. Put the players in big hotels, wherever you want to play. Keep them very well surveilled. So have them tested every single week. We kind of mentioned these things earlier, but this is the exact quote. And make sure they don't wind up infecting each other or their family, and just let them play the season out. First off, hats off to you, Dr. Anthony Fauci. I am applauding it. It's finally the first thing I've heard of optimism of playing sports in 3 weeks. So Hallelujah, thank you. I'm doing my shaking hands above my head, and I am a Christian man. So thank you, hallelujah, amen, whichever you want to say. He is the leader in the infectious disease in the United States. So I would trust his opinion. If he thinks this can work and safely, I'm all for it. But the reality comes down to the players. Would they be comfortable playing in spring training facilities and only being able to go from hotel to stadium, no family? I mentioned Mike Trout earlier. It raises some red flags. He has a pregnant wife, which I mentioned earlier. Would he be able to go back home for the birth of his first child? Would he be able to come back to his team? Would he have to quarantine? These are the questions and the red flags that players have legitimate gripes about. But if their players are 100% on board, and I'm not saying 95, I'm not saying 96, 100% on board. If every player votes, says, hey, I'll play under these circumstances, I'm for it. If it's not 100%, if it's 99.9, I may still lean the other way. But if it's 99%, I'm all for not playing. But if all the players are backing it, Dr. Fauci is backing it, hey, let's play baseball.
We're going to find out what the changes are. It's not going to happen for at the earliest 30 days. So a lot can change between now and mid-May. We mentioned earlier you mentioned nobody coming to the stadium. We talked about putting the players in isolation. There's testing every week. Major League Baseball players and team employees are part of a virus study, an antibody virus study with 10,000 tests taken over the next 2 days. So researchers have an understanding of this virus. And that, to me, that study right there will be critical in terms, and also the numbers, the death rate, the number of cases in the next 30 days, whether we have a season or not. I'm still in wait and see mode because, like I said earlier, they've been wrong predicting the death count from Jump Street, and I'm glad they are. They were wrong predicting the cases, and I'm glad they are. So, to me, I'm still not optimistic there'll be a season, but I'm not an expert, so we'll see what happens next. Let's go on next to our next topic.
Let's do it.
The Falcons' new running back, Todd Gurley, will be wearing Prime Time's old number. That's number 21. We kind of named the show, a little bit of the show, Prime Time. Will Gurley live up to the expectation, JJ?
Well, Gurley's one-year deal includes a $2 million signing bonus, $3.5 million fully guaranteed base salary, and $500,000 in incentives. If he reaches 1,000 yards rushing or has 13 touchdowns, he gets that $500K.
That's true.
Pretty light contract in terms of the Atlanta side. But what Gurley's really making is a lot more than that, because the Rams are paying him $14 million. Now Atlanta's got to eat some of that salary, but they're paying like it's an outrageous number. It's a lot of money. The Rams are paying him a lot of money to play against them. But I think he can live up to the contract. And what that would mean, I don't think he has to get 1,000 yards rushing. I think that 13 touchdown number is more realistic. If he gets 13 touchdowns, whether it's receiving out of the backfield or at the goal line, where we all know as Atlanta fans, we have struggled in the red zone, getting the ball in the end zone, especially on the ground. Devontae Freeman could not get it done in the red zone. This guy can. If he gets it done in the red zone, he will live up to his contract. But the biggest thing is here is he's wearing number 21. That's Prime Time's number. Last time someone wore that, well, he got traded out of here just a couple weeks ago, Desmond Trufant. So Deion Sanders, the most famous 21, he says he shouldn't wear it. Then he later said he was joking about it. So I don't even know what he said. But I think Prime Time, knowing the guy he is, he's going to give him hats off to another guy back in the state of Georgia. Going to give him hats off and say, hey, give him hell. Deion Sanders will definitely play a joke on you. I don't think he really cares too much. But Todd Gurley, should live up to the contract. On Atlanta's side, it's not that big. And if the Falcons end up drafting another running back, maybe there's a 1-2 punch in the backfield. Maybe it's another Bulldog, as we've talked before. That'll tend to light things up on the social media side.
Well, that'll be being another Bulldog will be long odds. They're not projected to take a running back now, but who knows? Thomas Dimitroff may move up in the draft. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But in terms of Gurley, it all comes down to two words for me: staying healthy. Period. If he stays healthy and he can go back to the numbers he had with the Rams, holy smokes! You just mentioned it. The red zone. He'll get his numbers. He'll get in the end zone. He'll take the pressure off Matt Ryan in the passing game and Julio Jones and etc. But if he does not, he's going to be under a lot of scrutiny because, like, he's a UGA guy. He's under pressure. So to me, it all comes down to health. Trufant, he's not here anymore. because because of his ability, it's because of his health. Trufant and Gurley have great ability, but they've got to stay healthy. The Falcons took a risk. It wasn't a big one financially, but it's a risk in terms of on the field.
Correct.
Because this guy's knee, it's all health. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next one here. The NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport. This will be interesting. Mentioned on Complex's Load Management podcast, this shocked me, that the Falcons should trade up for a quarterback in the draft. JJ, what do you think?
Wow. Nice and easy. Wow. But no, he's this is fodder for talking season. I think that's all it is mentioning, you know what? And in the article, if you read it, is on 12up.com. Very interesting read, folks. Make some good points. Matt Ryan hasn't been to the Pro Bowl now almost 4 years if you're including this season, which obviously no one's playing, but you get my point. 2016, that MVP years, last year, he made the Pro Bowl. He is getting a little older. Do you take a quarterback to mentor under Matt Ryan? That's basically what he's saying. I don't think they're in the market to do that, not this year, maybe in the near future. But yeah, no, that's crazy to even think about that right now, because Matt Ryan is at a top 10 level quarterback, top 5 if you ask a lot of Falcons fans. I think he's a top 5 quarterback in the league. Depending on if he can get some time in the pocket. Hey, I think it's crazy, but you know what? It's fodder season in Rappaport. Hats off to you. You got people chattering.
Dan Quinn and Thomas Dimitroff have to win this season. So if you're going to get ready, put one of your best players on the roster and your most valuable player on the roster, and you expect to win this season, not going to happen. It's ludicrous. We all know Matt Ryan's numbers. 51,000 yards in his career. Holy smokes, 321 touchdowns against 147 picks.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter. This guy took the Falcons to the Super Bowl, has taken to the playoffs numerous times. He's obviously been there and done that and proven that he can win. Right now, the way his career is projecting, and he's only 34, and I say that because Tom Brady will be 43 this year. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely, he will be.
And Dimitroff, I do believe part of the article, JJ, I think they're going to trade up because Dimitroff has traded up 5 times in the first round in his career as a GM for the Falcons. And this, to me, smells like number 6. He's going to do anything and everything to help Dan Quinn win the season. And they need defense. They need on the D-line, a linebacker or cornerback. And I would like to see him grab another pass rusher. But that Simmons kid from Clemson, if they can get up there and get him, you're solving not only the linebacker position, but you're solving the pass rusher position.
Yeah, he can get after it. Isaiah Simmons, one of the most talented players in the draft this year. I think another player they're looking to trade up now. A lot of people think defensive tackle Kinlaw out of South Carolina won't be there at 16. Some people think he will. I think that may be the guy the Falcons move up to get as well. So one of those two guys I do see. I'm with you. Part of the article is right. That's why I said, folks, it's worth the read. 12up.com. Just Google Ian Rappaport Complex Load Management Podcast. It should pull it right up, and you can read the article. There's some good points in there. I don't think moving up's the right move for a quarterback, but moving up to get that extra pass rusher or moving up to get that linebacker that you really want, I'm all for it.
Well, I tell you what, Thomas Dimitroff, man, I think he's one of the better ones in the business. I mean, this guy is shrewd. I mean, he takes chances. He doesn't care what anybody thinks.
No, he doesn't.
He just does his job. He doesn't listen. Look for the edge rusher out of LSU, Chason possibly.
Chason's really good.
He is. Look for him. I mean, they're going to get a pass rusher to go with, Dante Fowler and Tack McKinley. They've got to, if they can. I like the Simmons kid because he kills two birds with one stone.
Two birds with one stone. I agree. I said 2 birds with one stone. I agree. That's well put.
I mean, if this guy's there, I mean, we'll see. If not, they'll draft Espinosa. Maybe they'll draft the kid from Penn State. Maybe C.J. Henderson. We don't know. This club could move up, and it wouldn't shock me at all if they moved up at all, JJ. It's just a team to me that they're going to do anything and everything to win this season because this is it for them if they don't.
Yeah, I agree. And Thomas Dimitroff has to make a move. He's got to get guys. He's got to nail this draft. If you're writing an article and you're a journalist, you got to say things. You got to look at this squad. Arthur Blank has put everything into this team, given everybody what they needed to win. They paid Julio. They got Matt Ryan. They got Devontae when he was healthy. He played. Right. He got there. This is huge. If they both don't win, and moving up to get his guy is very likely. You mentioned the 5 times he's moved. It would not surprise me if he moves in because you're right. His job and Dan Quinn's are on the line if they don't hit on their first
especially Quinn. I think Quinn's job is more on the line than Dimitroff's, but it doesn't really matter. Each of them are on the line. But I just remember in 2011, man, they went up and they traded their 27th overall pick along with their 2nd and 4th round picks in 2012 and the 1st and 4th round picks to the Browns for number 6 overall. And they selected Julio Jones, and everybody and anybody thought Dimitroff was out of his mind. He was mortgaging the future, and look who he got. And it turned into gold. And the fool's gold was Cleveland because they still are fool's gold today. So, you look at that, but can he pull? But see, the thing is, this time they only have 6 picks in the draft, 6 or 5. I can't remember off the top of my head. I thought they only had 5 or 6 picks in the draft. They don't have a whole lot of capital this time.
No.
So, but still, Dimitroff will do it because he is a gambler. He's always been. And we'll see. Let's go on to our last topic tonight. You can give us a call. You still have time, 678-280-7123 per an NBCSports.com article. This is really good. Dak Prescott won't participate in the offseason if a new deal isn't signed. What does this mean for the Dallas Cowboys, JJ?
Wow, it means a whole lot. Now, we all know there's some mixed reports out there. I've heard he won't go. I've heard he can't go. But I think the what I've got from NBC.com in that article is that he's not going to participate either way. He doesn't want to sign the franchise tag. I don't know why. It's $33 million. Kirk Cousins did it twice, made himself $160-odd million in, 3-4 years? I think that worked out pretty good for Kirk Cousins. So this is huge for the Dallas Cowboys. New coach, new regime, quarterback's not there. That's huge. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if it's a virtual workout, doing Zoom meetings, just showing your face, getting introduced, whatever it is. You're going to be introduced to the new playbook. You're going to make your first impression on your new teammates. Hey, this is a big deal. If he is not signed or doesn't sign the franchise tag, it's going to send a message to Jerry Jones that he absolutely wants that long-term contract or the contract that he wants, or else he won't be showing up. We'll see if a holdout insists, but this is going to be a very intriguing situation moving forward for the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, I think it's absolutely one of the top 3 stories in the NFL this year. I mean, they've been negotiating this contract now well over a year, and we've already said numerous times Zeke Elliott and Van Der Esch and Smith and everybody else and their mother getting the money, but Dak. And you see on the national media, Dak should get his money. they're doing Dak wrong. No, they're not. The Cowboys are not doing Dak wrong.
No, they're not.
They're not doing him wrong at all. They offered him a boatload of money to play. Life-changing money in a coronavirus environment that we're in. He won't sign a tag that's worth over $30 million, which is life-changing money. Dak don't have that kind of money. He's been playing on a rookie contract since he started in the league as a fourth rounder. This is life-changing money. Like you said with Kirk Cousins, he signed the franchise tag and made him $60 million and then signed a long-term deal with the Vikings and made another $100 million. Dak, if you just go out and perform this year, the Cowboys are going to pay you. But they don't want to pay you long-term right now because you got outplayed by Carson Wentz and a bunch of backups on the Philadelphia Eagles last season when you had a full allotment of offensive players and Wentz did not, and he outplayed you.
Week 17, absolutely.
That is why they offered Dak this money. They're not moving from it.
Nope.
I know Jerry Jones is a great negotiator, JJ. They're not moving. They have a number, and they're not moving. People on the big networks are saying, oh, they're just trying to get publicity for themselves. Maybe they are. Maybe they're not. Former players are saying, I would sit out. Real easy for you to sit out. You've already made your money in your career.
Sit out
and
see
you're
what
on
happens.
television. Huh?
Because here's the deal, TC. I'm agreeing with you on all fronts. Here's the deal. They don't want to give him that long-term deal. Why? Because in a lot of situations, you nailed it on the head. In a one-game playoff situation against a very weak Philadelphia Eagles team, he lost. Didn't play well. Didn't play well at all. In a lot of times, they were out of the game, and he got them back in it with his arm. They fell short. They were 8-8. Here's the deal. Mike McCarthy's in. If Dak Prescott improves, they get to the playoffs under the franchise tag, they will give him that money, and they will give him, I'm sure, $100 million deal if he wants.
They'll give more than that.
They'll give more than that.
Well, you know what, though? You know what? May not. You know why? This might be the best offer he gets. When it was that the NFL plays a season without fans. I can't sign that $30 million I'll sign it. I'll sign my name on it. I mean, are you kidding me? You should take
can we co-sign
the
that,
money
TC?
and run. What's that?
Can we co-sign that?
Oh my gosh! Yeah, we'll get Double T and Lou to sign it with us. I'll split it 4 ways right the hell now. I mean, I just can't believe.
But I just can't. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head right there.
I can't believe it.
I think there's some points to what's being said on the Dak Prescott possibly being traded in the near future. Not maybe this year, but maybe the next
he won't get traded this year.
I don't think so either. But there's some strategy here with the 1-year franchise tag. It sets your franchise up to work around a big deal for 1 year. Then the next year you can get that number out. So this is going to be a make or break deal for the Cowboys, because if he doesn't sign the franchise tag and he holds out, I don't think they're going to this is going to be a story that unfolds with a lot of drama over the next couple weeks.
Well, so what is he going to do? He's going to go, I'm not reporting. That's great. You don't sign and you don't report. You know how much you get? Zero. Guess what the Dallas Cowboys are going to do? They're going to draft another quarterback.
Yep.
They're going to draft a quarterback. And it's going to be, from what I'm hearing, and you know how the reports are, it's going to be potentially Jalen Hurts, or the Steelers may get him, but he's not leaving round 2. And Jerry Jones and them already had him on the video screen and interviewed him in their home, Jerry and Steven. So, they're making contingent plans beyond next season. If the realm of possibility Dak does not sign, he's got to sign. He doesn't have a choice. He has some leverage. All the players on all the big networks. Oh, he's got all the leverage. Really? The team has the leverage.
Yeah.
The Cowboys are going to be fine without Dak
Gordon. How
Prescott.
his holdout work?
The Cowboys are going to be fine without Dak Prescott financially.
Absolutely.
Dak Prescott's not going to.
Ask Melvin Gordon how his held up last year.
That's an excellent point. But the Dallas Cowboys, I'll say this, they'll be fine without Dak Prescott financially. Guess what? He won't be fine without them. He sits out in a coronavirus football season and doesn't play. He gets zero. He's done. It's between 30 million and zero. Be smart, like you said, Kirk Cousins. Signed 30 million. Maybe they want to tag you again. That's 60 million bucks. Guess what? The way the virus is and the way things are going, this isn't a secure environment for the players anymore. Tom Brady, JJ, signed for 50 million. So did Drew Brees. Guess what? They have coronavirus contract clauses in their contract. Yep. If they don't play, guess what they get?
Money.
I don't think they get the money. I mean, there might be a bonus. I guess it is a guaranteed contract.
Yeah,
other than the coronavirus clauses.
Yeah, Drew Brees is definitely mostly guaranteed.
It is, but they have the coronavirus clause in it. So if they don't play, they're not getting paid.
Correct.
I don't get it.
But there is guaranteed money, so eventually they would have to get some of it, I would assume. But
for the life of me, I can't. I'm not in his shoes, so I don't know what it's like to be him. But I know what it's like I know what it's like if somebody gave me 30 million bucks during this pandemic, and even though in the back of my head I know I can make a ton later, I'm signing for now. Because once he goes out and breaks a leg and he's done, look at Alex Smith. You know, he almost passed away in the operating table. Football is a violent game. He's got to sign this contract. Bottom line.
Got to. I agree. I think we're pretty much ditto on this. On
we are. We totally agree on it, and we'll just leave it at that, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank everyone for listening in. I want to thank Lou, and I want to thank Double T for calling in. I want to thank Emily C. Walden of The Athletic, national baseball writer who covers Major League Baseball and also the minor leagues for the Detroit Tigers, for being our guest this evening. I want to thank Breck, managing the boards in San Francisco. I want to thank you, JJ. And most of all, I want to thank the listeners once again. I also want to thank the people out there on the front line, the doctors, the nurses, the policemen, the firemen, the grocery store people working in gas stations, the truckers. You people are the heroes. You 100%. Are the ones that are making it safe for us while you're out there risking your life for your profession. And on the behalf of JJ and myself, God bless you and stay safe. And good night, everybody. And I want to let you know one more thing. Former NHL player Bobby Carpenter will be going back in time with me tomorrow on ATL Prime Sports at 4 p.m. Eastern. Good night, everybody.
Want to say thanks as well. Every Tuesday and Thursday, 4 to 4:30, right here. And same time, same place next Wednesday, folks. Get you one. Stay safe, and thanks to all on the front lines.